Okay? So, Lexi, you okay, honey?
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. We're not making a box this time. We're making a can. What shape is a can? Cylinder. We are find the radius and height of cans, and they have a surface area that is less than 1,000. So we need the surface area of the can to be less than 1,000 units, right? So let's talk about a cylinder. This is as close as I can get to a cylinder. Surface area of the cylinder. So that is all the material that's required to make it. So it has a top and a bottom, right? And what's the shape of the top and the bottom? Circles. So we've got 2 pi r squared. Pi r squared is a circle area. And I have 2 of them, the top and the bottom. Right? Now, what about the sides of the cylinder? Okay? So this is my cylinder. Look, if I open up the sides, like if I cut the cylinder, it's really just a rectangle, isn't it? Isn't it just a rectangle? The sides of the cylinder? So that will be this times this. Now look, what's the bottom of that? That's the circumference, isn't it? Isn't that the circumference? So when I open it up, this is just the circumference opened up, right? And circumference is 2 pi r. And then this is just the height of the cylinder. So this is the formula for the surface area of a cylinder. Top and bottom, sides. And I need that to be less than 1,000. Now you tell me what's wrong with this equation. No, pies are okay. I can type pi in on my calculator. Squares are fine. I can type squares on my calculator. There's an H and an R. And when I type an equation in on my calculator, I just use X, don't I? So this could be 2 pi x squared, that's fine, plus 2 pi x, but this is a problem, because I can't have another variable. Right? Okay, so let's look at the problem. The problem says that the volume is 2,000. Well, how do you find the volume of a cylinder? The volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. Now kids, even if I give you the formulas, you still have to know what to do with it, right? So this is the equation that we are going to graph on our calculator. But I can't graph it until I get rid of the h. So I'm going to come up here and look at this. They told me that pi r squared h, the volume, is 2,000. So what does that mean h equals? What does h equal? 2,000 divided by pi r squared. So guess what I'm going to do with that right there? I'm going to put it right here. So that h is going to be 2,000 divided by pi r squared. So I have 2 pi x squared. Let's clean this up a little bit. What will happen here? This is a multiply. That's going to be 4,000. The pi's are actually going to cancel there. Oh, and that's supposed to be an x, sorry. My r was an x.
4,000 over x.
I think you're right. I think that's all that's left, 4,000 over X. Because that X will cancel into that one. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to my calculator, and I'm gonna type in a window now. Remember, what does my X stand for? My X stands for a radius, so it's gonna have to be bigger than 0. So I'm gonna type in 0, and I'll just leave it at 10 and see what happens. But now my maximum Y, so my X's, for now I'm leaving my X's 0 to 10. My Y's, I'm gonna have to have 0 to maybe 1,200.
Where's pi?
What?
Where's pi? Oh, I see it.
Right under the clear button. Alright, so I'm gonna type in that equation. This equation right here, this is gonna be one equation, and then I'll type in 1,000 for the other one. So 2 pi x squared plus 4,000 divided by x, and then 1,000. Now remember, you don't care about anything on the graph except you need to see your curve and your line crossing. This is the 1,000 line, and then your curve has some kind of shape. I'm gonna go ahead and make my X's a little bit bigger. I'm gonna go to 15 so I can see more of my picture. Do you see this now on your graph?
Yeah.
So this is where it exactly equals 1,000. Well, those are actually gonna be open dots, because I don't want it to equal 1,000. I want it to be less than 1,000. Did I get my sign right? Less than, yeah. Okay, so second calc intersect. We'll find those 2 points. I got 5.106.
I got
Oh, you didn't?
4.6. That's what I got.
All right, let me try again. Let's set my equation. Four point six one nine.
Yeah. That's what I got.
4.619. And the other one. What is the other one? We've gotten that one yet. I got 9.655. Did I get that one right?
Yeah, that's right.
So what's the answer to the question then? We want to be less than?
Yeah.
So the answer is 4.619 to 9.655.
Oh, it'd be open, meaning it'd be parentheses and stuff. Yeah.
Does it make sense that we would want to minimize our surface area?
Yes.
Yeah, because the surface area is how much material it takes to make a can. And don't you want to make the can with as little material as necessary?
Yep.
Yeah, so that makes perfectly good sense. Oh, I told you that was a fun one.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
Can you reach right behind you? Yep, that top stack right there. Alright, so now we've got a handy dandy little packet of review stuff.
Your reaction. I'm
So tomorrow, after I get all the quizzes, hey, I saw one today, I will, hand back the quizzes. Everybody get one?
Yeah.
All right, I numbered the pages this time to try to make our life, a little bit easier. I want you to turn, if you would please, to the page that's called, it'll be on the back of page 4. Back of page 4.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have things that are perplexing you, now is the time, we gotta get these kinks worked out. So let's look at problem number 1. And before we start the problem, I'm gonna over here to the side, say x cannot be 3. Would you agree with that? Because sometimes when I'm doing the problem, I get so carried away that when I get to the end, I forget to double check for extraneous roots. So this is gonna remind me, x cannot be 3. What's my common denominator? 4 x minus 3. I want to make all the denominators the same. Jalen Bonds? You want me to break your other ankle or something? You're beating yourself. All right, so I'm going to make all the denominators the same, right? Now, as soon as I do that, I'm allowed to drop the denominators. Oops. And solve my numerator. So I did some distributing there. I hope I did it correctly. So I distributed collected by terms. Now what do I want to do?
Set it 0.
So equal to 0. And then what? Since it's quadratic, I can either factor this one. How does it factor?
X minus 7, x minus 4.
7 and 4. Or if you don't want to factor, you could use your quadratic formula. Either way, we get x equals 7 and x equals 4 as our answers. We okay? All good. Everything's perfect. No problem. Number 2. What do you want to do with this?
Move it over.
Move it over. So x squared minus 5x.
Take an X out.
Factor it.
Yeah.
And then go to your number line. When you have inequalities, we like to use a number line. And the dots will go where? 0 and 5. And they'll be closed in dots. Can't pick 0 this time. I love to pick 0, but I can't. So I can make a different number. 1's fine. 1's in here. If I put in 1, I have a positive times a negative.
It's a negative.
Yeah, I don't care what the numbers are, really. I just need to know, is it less than 0? And if you put a 1 in, that will be positive and that will be negative. Is that less than 0? There you go, shade it in. And that's the only shading?
Yeah.
So my answer is 0.
Does it make it less than 0 because it's a negative? Because like the plus and the minus make it a negative?
Negative is less than 0. Less than 0 means negative. Greater than 0 means positive. Okay. Now the next one is one like we did earlier today. This will challenge you a little bit. Hopefully not too much. What do you think?
Minus a 6 over.
Move the 6 over, very good.
And you get a common denominator.
And the common denominator would be
X minus 1.
X minus 1. Now, one fraction, and be very, very careful. X plus 2 minus 6x plus 6. Gosh, I wish I had a dime for every time we mess that up. That's minus 6x plus 6. So I have negative 5x plus 8 over x minus 1. That is not my answer. Now I'm going to go to my number line and I'm going to put a couple dots on the number line. One of the dots will obviously be at 1. The other dot
8 over 5.
will be at 8 over 5. That is exactly right. So here's 1, here's 8/5.
Nice, Joe.
Okay.
What'd Joe say?
He said it on command. He knew the answer.
Okay, good. Now, we gotta be careful. One of the dots will be closed. The 8/5 will be closed, but the 1 cannot ever be closed
Yeah.
because a denominator dot always open, always open. So now I've got my dots. Okay, I'm gonna pick a number. I'm gonna pick 0. 0 is out here. 0 would give me positive over negative, which is not bigger than 0. So I will not shade here. So I'll shade here and not there. So my answer is now nothing I did there or we did there is hard, but there's a lot. And the potential to make mistakes is all over the place. So be careful. Anybody have a question about any of that?
Oh,
last
so you
problem?
wouldn't put like, it's just 1 to 8/5, you wouldn't put like union to infinity?
Well, what else is shaded there? My answer is only what's shaded.
Oh,
So if that's shaded, this isn't and that isn't. So there's no infinities there.
Wait, oh, why is the denominator always open?
Because it can't be 0.
Oh, yeah.
You colored that in, you're telling me 1 is part of the answer and it can't be. All right, number 4. Good news is we already have a 0. Bad news is we have a factor it. And I heard some it doesn't group, does it? I mean, it's perfectly wonderful to think about grouping, but then when you look at it, this one's gonna have a 5 in it, that one's gonna have a 4 in it, they're not gonna match, so we're not gonna be able to group it. We're gonna have to do our PRRs. So factors of 8. What do you wanna try?
2, 4,
2, 4, 2 by 4.
like 4. Oh, it's gonna work. It's gonna work.
It absolutely is gonna work.
That is so incredible. I love that stuff happens.
Pullman is in left. In McCarvey, it works.
Okay, so what's left? X squared
Minus X.
minus X minus 2,
Yep.
and I think that factors.
Sure.
X
Minus 2.
Minus
X
2
plus 1.
Alright, so here's where we all gotta get focused again. Things are coming together really well. This is a cubic problem. It needs to have 3 parentheses. Here are 2 of the factors. What's the third one?
It's X plus
minus
4.
4.
X minus 4.
X minus 4 is the third factor because the minute we got 4 as a 0, that means it's on my number line. 4 is on the number line. And if 4 is on the number line, then the factor is X minus 4. Would you agree with that? And then the other 2 dots are at 2 and negative 1. And they're all open. And now I just need to figure out where to shade. I want to shade where I'm negative, less than 0. So I'm going to put in 0. 0 would give me a negative, and a positive. 0 minus 4, 0 minus 2, 0 plus 1. Negative, negative, positive. Is that gonna be less than 0? No. No. Isn't that positive? So I don't shade where the 0 is, so I will shade here, and here. Are you with me? So what's my final answer? Negative infinity, negative 1,
And then 2.
and 2, 4.
What if I got the exact same answer but doing what we did earlier?
Huh?
I got the exact same answer but doing what we did earlier.
Like what?
Can we do that where plug it in for y equals and
Oh, you mean you did on your calculator? Well, this will be a no calculator
Oh.
question.
Oh,
Now,
calculator.
certainly, you can, and you will get the exact same answer if you do it. I mean, that is the answer. But yeah, so I didn't specify that. The ones with stars are calculator problems. So the ones without stars aren't, but I didn't tell you that, so. All right, number 5 has a star, it got cut off, but it's a star. We're gonna create a box. The paper is 10 by 12, volume has to be at least 80, find the size of the cutouts. Okay. What's my equation?
12 minus 2x.
12 minus 2x.
10 minus 2x.
10 minus 2x.
X
X.
greater than or equal to 8.
Bigger than or equal to 80. Please. Everybody look up here. Does that make sense? This was already on a test, probably going to be on another test, definitely going to be on the exam. You need to know the box problem. 12 minus 2x, 10 minus 2x, x. And this time it has to be bigger than or equal to 80. So we are going to go to the calculator.
Domain 0 to 5.
And the domain, which is our window, will be 0 to 5. You got it, Joe. And then my y min will be 0. And my y max has to be bigger than 80, so maybe 100. Type in 80 will be one equation. And all that will be the other ones.
what is it that can't be bigger than 5 and 4? Just can't be bigger than 5.
So hopefully you got something that looks like this. And here is where we equal 80. And here is where we're above 80. So second cat intersect. .764 is that one.
I got one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't done it yet. Getting it right now. Oh, wow, it is one. So how would you, after doing all that work, how would you answer the question? Bracket, 1, 2.764. Is that right?
Yeah, it is.
All right, I'm gonna stop there. We have 2 days to review, so we'll review tomorrow and next Monday. And then our test is Monday. Julie,